Hi, it's Jan. Last time I told you that the picture I had built around my retirement was gone all at once. I didn't know what to do with that version of retirement that didn't have my family in it the way I had planned. Because of the grief and the trauma, I had started looking for a therapist. I couldn't turn off the thoughts that were surrounding the tragedy. And in order to get see a therapist, there were waiting lists that were weeks out. And it really felt like I needed help immediately. So we finally found someone who could see us within a week. And although she was kind and she listened to our whole story, and she reassured us that what we were feeling was normal, after a few visits I realized that she wasn't giving us any of the actual tools that we needed. There was nothing to do with the pain in between sessions. The same thoughts were still circling at 2 a.m, and I still had bad days, and sometimes a series of bad days. So I looked again, and this time I found a therapist that specialized in trauma. This one started with a series of assessments for depression, trauma, stress, and a couple others. And this was so we'd have something to measure against later. I told her that it had felt like I had lost whole months of time, like I had been waiting through the weeks after my grandson died and not really being present for any of it. And then I woke up one day and couldn't account for where the time had gone. She had told me that's normal for both grief and trauma, and she used real tools with me. I had already been journaling, but she used somatic therapy, something called neurographica, and accelerated resolution therapy, or ART for short. She probably used some other things that I can't name. But having had a trauma therapist versus the therapist we went to earlier was a night and day difference, and I would highly recommend anyone who's been through trauma to seek out someone who has the trauma training and the extra tools that people who go through trauma need. So those were things I had never heard of before this, and I want you to know it didn't really erase anything, but it did help me to process it instead of trying, unsuccessfully I have to say, to avoid the feelings and the thoughts. Avoidance isn't the way to heal. It helped give voice to and meaning to the things that had happened, and it began to bring healing. Somewhere in that work, I had to accept something. This is where we were now. There was no bringing my grandson back, and the life I had pictured, full of my grandkids, wasn't going to happen the way I had planned. And honestly, accepting that was its own kind of grief. Once I stopped picturing the family time I had expected to fill my life with, I really didn't know who I was without that picture. That's the next story.